Now shifting our focus, more details are now emerging of that very unfortunate Maoist attack that happened in Dantewada yesterday. Intel sources are now telling us here at CNN News 18 that the assessment of the crime scene has now revealed that a tunnel had also been dug below the road and packed with explosives. The soil had been dug out to found dumped on the bank of a pond nearby. Sources also telling us that industrial explosives used for coal mining suspected to have been used as well. Remember, in this Maoist attack yesterday that happened in Dantewada, 10 Jawans were martyred. The driver of the vehicle lost his life as well. Our colleague Arunima now joining us with more details. Arunima, even yesterday, the first pictures that we had accessed, and we discussed this all throughout yesterday as well, that the intensity of the blast was extremely high, so possibly the quantity of explosives used was a lot as well. What are the kind of details that you're now picking up of what was the plan as far as the Maoists were concerned in laying this ambush?
Since yesterday we have been asking this question that was a road opening party missing? How did the ROP not spot that there was something amiss? If you have to put an explosive on the road, you will obviously do some digging work. How did the ROP miss that? Now the teams that have gone on the ground come up with this shocking disclosure that while the top of the road was remained intact, from the side, there was a tunnel that was dug and explosives were packed in that tunnel. And to avoid any kind of suspicion, even the soil that was dug out of that tunnel was carried some distance away. There is a pond found on a little distance away. On the banks of that pond, that soil was dumped. So anybody who was just scanning and sanitizing the road per se would have missed, because this was in the forested area a little away from the road. The second thing is the quality of the explosive. While the final forensic report is awaited, preliminary assessment suggests that this is nitrate mixture usually used for coal mining. There are a lot of mines in that particular area, and the suspicion is that CPI Maoists could have taken this explosive either by looting the explosives that were going for these mines, or by indulging in pilferage. So that is the nature of explosive use, and at least 50 kilograms is the suspicion. So that is the amount of explosive that was packed in that tunnel. Wire has also been recovered. Meters of wires have been recovered from ground. That wire was used to trigger off the blast. So the person who triggered it was quite a distance away from the road, and therefore when the surviving DRG personnel fired back, even though the Naxals reportedly retaliated, there was no gunshot wound found on anybody. There was no injury on anybody that was found as a result of the gunfire. So those are details that we have exclusively managed to gather after speaking to investigators.
Arunima, this sounds like a very devious plot that is now only being exposed as far as how this ambush was laid. I just want to go back to something that you pointed out. You are saying there was some sort of firing that happened between the Naxals and this DRG force. So the counter here will be, how come backup wasn't called at this point?
There were 200 men who were traveling as part of this anti-Naxal operation, and they were in 4 different vehicles. The vehicle that was blown up had around 10 people. The SUV, which was right behind this blown up vehicle, had around 8 to 9 Jawans, and these Jawans retaliated. But by the time the retaliation happened, the gunfire happened. Also, there is a signal issue in this particular area. Mobile networks, mobile towers are difficult to establish. Infrastructure, every time government tries to build there, Naxals always blow them away, and that's why this road is also something that Naxals are not very happy about. So calling for help, could it have been done? Why was it not done? Only the survivors can tell us, but I can only guess, having traveled to this area and covered this area extensively, I can only guess that perhaps there wasn't enough time, and by the time they retaliated and reinforcement was called for, the Naxals from that area had escaped. But yes, survivors are confirming that after the blast, there was gunfire exchange between the surviving DRG force and the Naxals.
So, Arunima, now going back to the report as far as how this entire tunnel was dug up, some details that we're understanding that almost a 5 feet deep tunnel possibly could have been dug up. So what I'm essentially trying to understand, when all of this was happening, how come nobody got a whiff of what was happening?
Again, if you see, this is the road. Let me try and explain to you. This area from Dantewada to Jagargunda. Jagargunda is like the point where Sukma, Bijapur and Dantewada meet. It's like a tri-junction. So you know how Indian police system works. There's always an issue of which Thana's jurisdiction, which police force should be responsible. So those are issues in this tri-junction. This is a main road, but not very popular and not only used by the security forces for the area domination purpose. So could they have dug up this tunnel at night to avoid detection? Could they have have kept guards a little away to see that every time there is a security convoy movement, they go back into the forest undetected. This is forest area that we are talking about, heavy forest on both sides, and this is the time when TCOC is on. So the Naxals are also actively trying to do a big operation. They've not managed to do anything for the last 2 years. So this must be playing on their mind also. So were they extra careful? Were our forces complacent in any way? We just have to wait for investigators to tell us.
Sure. Arunima, we'll leave the conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Let's listen in to some reactions now.
घटना स्थल पे एक नक्सलियों के साथ मुठभेड़ हुआ, एक नक्सली घायल हुआ और एक नक्सली को पकड़ लिए और घायल नक्सली और जो जिन्हें गिरफ्तार किया गया था उसको लेकर वापस आ रहे थे। बस हमारे DRG के जवान और एक सिविलियन की शहादत हुई। ये लड़ाई और लड़ी जाएगी। जहाँ भी नक्सली की होने की सूचना मिलेगी, हमारे जवान अब घेर के उनके साथ मुठभेड़ कर रहे हैं, लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं।
इस पे जो DRG में जो फ्रेश रिक्रूट्स भी है, जो नक्सल पीड़ित भी है और जो नक्सल सरेंडर कैडर्स भी है, जैसे कल वाला घटना में भी उसमें तीनों प्रकार का जो थे, जो फ्रेश रिक्रूट्स भी थे, जो सरेंडर नक्सल कैडर्स भी थे और साथ साथ जो नक्सल पीड़ित थे, उन्होंने भी मतलब बाद में जैसा उनका पुनर्वास नहीं दिखता तो पुलिस में उनका बल में मौका दी जाती। इस प्रकार मतलब तीनों का कॉम्बिनेशन थे। सब जिस तरीके से विगत वर्षों में हम ऑफेंसिव तरीके से काफ़ी अंदर तक आगे पहुंच चुके हुए थे, उसका काफ़ी सकारात्मक परिणाम मैदान में देखने मिल रहे थे और निश्चित रूप से ये हमारे लिए एक सेटबैक रहा।
उनके परिजनों को हम सहानुभूति देने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। भगवान जो हमारे साथ जो जवान शहीद हैं उनको उनकी आत्मा की शांति के लिए भगवान से कामना करते हैं और हम और नक्सली के खिलाफ और भी हम उनके साथ उनके आत्मा शांति के लिए लड़ना चाहते हैं।
जो आज इसमें से आज 1 नंबर के 10 जवान शहीद हो गए और हमारे साथ बहुत अच्छे तरीके से वो लोग ड्यूटी करते थे, साथ में रहते, हंसना खेलना कूदना टाइप जैसे करते थे ड्यूटी। कभी एक दूसरे से कोई लड़ाई झगड़ा वैसे बिल्कुल भी नहीं होता था। बहुत ज़्यादा हंसी मजाक के साथ हम सब लोग एक साथ ड्यूटी करते थे। आज वो लोग हमें छोड़ के चले गए, इस चीज़ का हमें बहुत ज़्यादा दुख हो रहा है। भगवान से हम प्रार्थना करते हैं कि भगवान उनकी आत्मा को शांति दे।
उसमें मेरा भाई था सर, क्या नाम था? संतोष कुमार था मो। अच्छा। और ग्राम बड़े कमेली पटेल पारा से सर। हम लोग को तो पता नहीं, अभी मतलब फोन आया था उधर से कि ब्लास्ट हुआ है और ऐसा हो गया है, घटना हो गया है बोल के नाम आया है।
संतोष तामो के परिवार से यहाँ पर कौन कौन सदस्य हैं?
संतोष तामो के परिवार से उनकी बड़ी दीदी है सर।
अच्छा। और उनकी पत्नी?
उनकी पत्नी उधर चले गई सर, उसका ऑफिस में